One of the biggest workflow killers when it comes to producing music is not being able to execute the idea you have in your head as fast as possible. FL Studio unfortunately has a lot of roadblocks when it comes to plugins and leveraging these for a faster workflow, but only if you don't know how to set these up correctly. At the end of this video, you'll not only know the fastest way to access your plugins, you will also know how to leverage them, saving you a ton of clicks. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. FL Studio handles all your plugins through the so-called plugin database. You can simply access it when loading a new plugin into the mixer channel, but you can also access it if you go on plugin database in the file browser. Now watch what happens if I right click it and click on open. You can see all the folders that were previously displayed in the FL Studio file browser as well as the plugin insert menu. And that means we can 100% change how FL Studio's plugin database looks like by deleting or adding new folders as well as moving plugins around the way we need them. Mine, for example, looks like this. I only use a very few FL Studio stock effects, so I deleted them all and put the ones I use in this one folder here. I also have my go-to plugins that I almost always use right here, so I can access them even faster. And the rest is categorized into 3 folders: waves plugins, reverbs and delays, and other. To set this up, first of all, I highly recommend you to set your plugin list structure to tree. This way it shows the folders as categories. Next, you want to click on more plugins and then on manage plugins. This will open the FL Studio plugin manager in which you can add, rename and categorize your plugins. To add a new third-party plugin, you first have to click on find installed plugins. Let it scan through your computer and it will show you a list of all your installed plugins. Next, pick the plugin you want to add to the plugin database, switch to the plugin tab and optionally give the plugin a different name. I, for example, don't want to have the stereo at the end of this plugin name, so I can simply remove that. Below where it says category, you can either create a new folder, add a plugin to an existing folder, or leave it empty and it will simply add the plugin without any folder. Just as my go-to plugins I showed you before. I'm going to put this in my waves folder, so I type the exact name of the waves folder in here. I personally like to use numbers at the beginning of my folder so I can keep control over the order. Finally, hit apply changes, check the box where it says favorite, and I can load my plugin from the waves folder. Now that you know how you can add plugins and customize the way they are organized, I'm going to show you the secret power of FL Studio's plugin database and how you can leverage it to speed up your workflow even more. When it comes to workflow, you have to ask yourself, what are the plugins that you use regularly, and even more important, what are the settings you use with them? Now make a list with all these plugins, write them down and create your own custom plugin database. The amazing feature about FL Studio's plugin database is that it doesn't differentiate between plugins and plugin presets like other DAWs do, and that opens up a whole new world of possibilities you have with these. Let me show you what I mean with that. Let's say you always use a high and low pass filter on most of your instrument, for example to cut out unnecessary low frequencies. You can simply open up parametric EQ2, add your high and low pass filter, select the folder in the plugin database where you want to save it, and then click on add to plugin database. Now every time you open up parametric EQ2, it will automatically already have the high and low pass filter curve in there. If you don't want to override the plugin itself and let's say save it as high and low pass filter, you have to save it using the save preset as feature. Then navigate a few folders above where it says presets, go to the plugin database and select the folder you want to save it in. Now rename it to high and low pass filter and you're done. You can now load the high and low pass filter from your plugin database. You can probably already see how many options for shortcuts this opens. A lot of third-party plugins offer the option to create a default preset, which basically means whenever you open the plugin, it loads one specific preset. But with this, you can even access plugin presets without having to access the plugin itself. I, for example, use FabFilter Pro C as a regular compressor, but sometimes I also use it to sidechain my bass using a kick as a trigger. In that case, I can open up Pro C, dial in my go-to settings for the sidechain, rename it to SC Compression and save it next to my volume shaper and kickstart. This way, I don't have to set up the compressor every time for sidechain and simply load the preset from the plugin database. I also use Volume Shaper from Shaperbox for sidechain most of the time. However, Shaperbox can do a lot more than that. For example, I can create this famous stutter effect and add some auto panning using the pan module. Now I can rename this into stutter with panning, save it and load it directly from the plugin database. You can see how many doors this opens, and it works with any plugin you can think of. And especially when it comes to plugins used for multiple purposes, this can be really handy. And obviously you can do this with all your synth and sampler plugins like Nexus, Silence, Serum, Contact, whatever you can think of. So I hope I saved you a ton of clicks with this video today. If you have any other cool workflow tips, drop it down in the comments below. I'm always interested in these. So thanks for watching, and we'll see each other in the next video.